Hey,
Hey,
welcome to the Impact Zone tonight. Impact,
welcome.
we added again.
We at it again.
What's up, David? Hey, David. Hey, Tara.
Hey,
Nichelle in the house. Kanisha in the house.
hey.
Welcome, everyone that's joining online, that's joining us live here on Dating God's Way. We got another exciting evening planned tonight. Another good topic, I think. So, Pastor E, so I was talking to somebody this weekend and they were expressing about their type. And I was like, ooh, types. Repping Harrisburg in the
Hey,
house.
Harrisburg in the
Harrisburg,
house.
PA.
Hey,
Law,
Law.
what's up, Law? Good to see you, Law. So I was like, okay, this is going to be good. You're a type. You're a type. So I'm gonna start off like this, right? And I'm gonna try to. I mean, this conversation can go anywhere because you know how we do. And Pastor E gonna take notes, and then she gonna do a nice summary of everything that we talked about. But when I say type, like type, right? We see like, all right. Let me go back down my dating lane, right? So when I was dating a young lady, right, and she was the type that I thought I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Right?
What kind of things does she have?
She was a bad girl.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, what's up,
Okay.
Rashad?
Hey,
What's
Rashad.
up, bro? That's my bro right there. So yeah, she was like a bad girl, right? And you know, she smoked weed. I didn't smoke.
Go
She
ahead.
drank. I didn't drink. But in our breakup, she was like, "Yeah, you probably gonna go find your type." And I was like, I was thinking like my type. She was like, "Yeah, your type, a church girl." I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, really? Okay." So so when we get into types of people that you are attracted to,
uh-huh.
it's like the prom queen, or or the street queen, the ghetto queen. I don't know. Those two can be the same, actually. I don't know.
Like,
Excuse me.
what are you
Yeah, those two
talking
can be the
about?
same.
But
Yeah.
yes, right. So you said like the bad girl, bad boy type. You talking about the the cheerleader, football personality, that type. Yeah.
Yeah. The type of person that you say you are attracted to, is it really that type of person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where's this coming from? Where's this whole type coming from?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
was listening to the radio and I listened to it was a lady host, and hey, thank you, man. We WrestleMania Dallas. This is years ago, but I love this shirt. Um, but what was I about to say?
I don't know.
Okay,
No,
so
you can't get distracted. Go ahead.
yeah, Dallas on the winning streak. But anyway, so I mean, it's the first time in years they've been like really exceptional.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so like really, what is your type, or what the type of person that you've looked for, or that you think you're attracted to?
Yeah.
The one that grabs your attention, so you may think.
Yeah. I think when you think about what's your type, it's like what makes you fall for someone. What is the type of person that will sweep you off your feet? Like if you meet this type, that's the type of person you're attracted to. That's the type of person you're drawn to. What's your type? So that's what we want to start with tonight. We actually want you to type in your type, and like what is your type? Give it to us in the comment section on tonight. We want to start with a little bit of on tonight. What's your type?
Oh yeah, that's what I would look. I was listening to the radio, and the young lady, the host, she was saying how her type is an athlete. She like athletes.
Oh yeah, she like the athletic. She like the athletic. Yeah, very
Yeah,
athletic. Yeah,
because
some people like nerdy guys, like nerdy girls, nerdy guys. Like, what's your type? And like when you think about type, what's something that comes up for you? This person must what? Right. So let's get into it, Pastor Will. Pastor Will's type. Let's get into that a little bit. What's up with you tonight?
When I was out there, boo, before I met you, were my perfect type, and I didn't even know it. But we'll get to that late. We'll conclude with that.
Pre me. Your type was talent.
Pre you.
Pre me, yes. Before there was a me, your type was what? Because I know already. So share with our viewers.
With our viewers. I thought I wanted somebody bad that could bring the bad experience that I wasn't crazy enough to involve myself in. Right?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of quote unquote like risky experience or whatever that, you know. And the sad thing is, now I think about it, I was like, man, we was the same age and she was that wild. I was like, that's crazy. But you know, just I really thought that my type or the type that I was looking for was going to be something different than I was always around, because I was always around church girls.
Yeah. What about the look, the physicality of your type?
The physicality, does physicality matters?
To you it did. So let's talk about it. I think we need to have if we're gonna do this, I think we need to talk about it in reality.
A physicality didn't.
What was your type physically? Because they all looked alike, in my opinion. Yes, they all looked alike. They all had certain looks that were just alike. So let's talk about it and start playing on.
No, they did not all. They did not all look alike. Yeah. To contrary belief, they did not all.
Contrary. I know contrary here, but Pastor E tonight, so don't even try it. What did they look like?
They did not.
Talent.
They did not all look alike.
Talent.
They did not all look alike.
So you did not have the light skin. How can I say this word on Dating God's Way tonight? Light skin, voluptuous as your type prior to Pastor E.
No.
Yes. Y'all do not listen to Pastor Will.
No, that might have been a type I attracted, but not necessarily my type.
Really?
Yeah.
So you didn't like light brights before Pastor E?
I did.
Of course you did. Talent. Why he not trying to tell it, y'all? Pastor Will was attracted to light brights before Pastor E. I don't know why he don't want to tell it. Because this what we talking about tonight is going to prove the point.
Oh, boy.
So, yes, Pastor Will like light-skinned young ladies prior to Pastor E. Okay, and what happened? Me, I really like tall, bald-headed guys. That was my type from a physicality standpoint. I think, Pastor Will, I think when we think about type, back in the day, most of the thing you thought about was physicality.
Sure, yes.
Right, intentionally. The thing we intentionally thought about was physicality.
Sure, yeah.
Right, and so I think that's a one place of reality is that a lot of people look at type based on physicality, what the person look like, what, does that person attract them? Does that person this, that, and the other? And I think that's the first place you got to get real with. What are the preconceived ideas you have of what the person is going to look like? Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm you kind of got me speechless though with the you kind of put me in a corner here a little bit.
I put you in the corner for real, Pastor Will.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like if we're gonna pull it out of our gas, we have to pull it out of ourselves, right?
Sure.
That generally when people think about types, they are really thinking about physically. They're not thinking about anything else. And I think that's what we have to start tonight's conversation. Thanks for sharing. Everybody who shared your type, thank you so much for sharing. Love it, love it, and love it. I think that somebody said that's a big one for me. Right. I think we have to be honest that when you talk about type, most people are looking for a certain person that looks a certain way. And we got to be honest about that, because if we're not honest about that, then I think that is harder to have the conversation that we're trying to have tonight.
No, okay. No, we're going to be open about it, and we're going to talk. Yeah, David, we're going to talk about it. I got to warm up a little bit.
Yes, because that's the reality, Pastor Will. It's like a lot of people, when they're thinking about type, all of the things that you guys typed out here are great, but the truth is you won't even get to know most of that about somebody because you're starting with how they look as the basis of type.
Right? Where does it come from?
It comes from TV, fantasizing, romance. I'll go straight up.
Hey,
like,
what's up, son?
Hey, a big thing for me, honestly, is probably like I never thought about this when I was dating, but in hindsight, I can think about it in hindsight, right? One of the things is like the truth is my type or my type of person I thought about was probably based on my uncle, right? Like he was my biggest male figure in my life as a young child, right? Like he was my epitome of like a man in some ways, right? Or like the person that I looked up to, or the person that frankly I loved the most as a child, right? And so that probably played a factor into like how I looked at who I thought was going to be my type, right? There was something that I think feeds into how you look at a person, whether it's your father or your mother. All those things may have some type of effect on how you think about who your type is.
Yeah, definitely mine was TV, Wonder Woman.
Exactly. That's why she was light bright.
My first crush, Linda Carter.
Exactly. Who is a Caucasian woman, right? And so, like, I'm just saying that I think that TV, family background, all of those things play into what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yes,
what
absolutely.
You see as a type.
It's your influence. It's what's been influenced. It's what has influenced you.
Yeah.
And what has taken up your eye space, right? And your imaginary space, right? And
sure.
And I think that's where we get our types from our imagination. Like your imagination is one of the most powerful things that God has given you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with that said, you want to bring your imagination into some kind of reality.
Into some type of reality, because you can think about this. You can think about this. Go ahead. Yeah. You can think about this from the perspective of like what we thought, meaning you and I, is really not the people that we married, right? I want to go too far to the end for y'all, but in reality, type can really make you make some bad decisions.
Yeah.
Yes, the type can really get you into Florence Bible. Type can really get you into moving it back over that way. I'm sorry. I'm directing my kids that give me some air. Sorry, y'all. I got hot. type can really get you into the space of making a bad choice.
Yeah.
Because it's not based on reality, it's based on fantasy. As we're talking about tonight. Yeah?
Yep.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, type got me into a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, well, type, she was going to get me locked up one night if I keep letting her smoke weed in my car, and weed wasn't legal.
Ooh.
So
the bad girl. Come on here. The bad girl.
Almost had my life wrecked.
Oh, the bad girl. The type,
wrong
right?
kind of wreck. I'm not talking about the reckless love. I'm just talking about just wreck.
Talking about getting wrecked for real.
Wreck.
Okay. So I do think, Pastor Buzz, we talk about this. I think that's number one, is getting to reality, coming out of fantasy. Because fantasy in reality is about, it's really based off of, I'm about to get all into it. So thank God's way. I already know y'all sick. Y'all about to be sick of Pastor E tonight. But the reality is, it is really based off your flesh, right? It is really based off of it is really based off of those desires, which don't go away. Like, yes, you need to be attracted to someone. Pastor E not saying don't be attracted, whatever. Just saying, like, don't make it the basis. Because if that's the only basis, those things only last but for so long.
And I'm saying, know your flesh is at work.
Yeah.
Right. And your flesh is active, is always active. But just know when your flesh is at work. I think that's something that Rita talked about last week, is, knowing who you are, knowing flesh attracts flesh. Right? She ain't quite say it like that, but I'll say it like that tonight, knowing that your flesh attracts flesh. And attraction is good, but uncontrollable attraction is not.
Yes. I think I said like this, Pastor Will. Know when your flesh is making the decision.
Yeah.
That's like, in reality, we're talking about type tonight. In reality, if your flesh is making the decision, just as David tells us tonight, Proverbs 13, beauty fades. So if your flesh is making the decision on in reality, a spiritual decision. Because marriage is, after salvation, marriage is one of the most spiritual decisions you're going to make. That joint right there, it can wreck you. Is it? Look, for real. Spiritually, marrying the wrong person can wreck you. And I ain't trying to scare y'all tonight. I'm just trying to tell you.
Yo, I was looking, speaking of types, right? I'm gonna go down the whole other path for a second. Then we're gonna make a U-turn. I was looking at Kevin Samuels, a clip from Kevin Samuels, right?
It's a will no.
And this young lady, she was married to a guy that was 25 years older than her. You see that one? She was married.
I do not watch that Joker. He hates women. I'm not gonna watch somebody who
it was crazy because she was married to this dude that was way older than she is, but she wanted to find out how can she date this other dude or be with this other guy that was that was pretty much successful. He was a baller. And she was a young girl. And she said she was out of the DMV area, which I would like put my head in my house like, oh my goodness. But it was like, she married a type that wasn't, that she don't like now.
Yeah.
Right? But here it is. After you married, I'm sorry, I'm going to another word. After you married, you don't have no more types. Your spouse is your type. Right? The types are over. Ain't no more types.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah. Once you get married, your type is your spouse, right? And so, yes, that's complete truth. But it's like, how do you get there, Pastor Will?
Right.
Right? How do you get there? And I think that's the thing, is like, yeah, that's what you're saying is truth. But it's like, how do you get there? How do you make sure that you're making a good choice, right? That you don't regret. Because when you get married, ain't no time to regret. Ain't never time to regret nothing. Like you didn't did it, right? And frankly, we not coming in this conversation talking about nothing but people staying together forever. Okay, that's all we talking about tonight. People staying together forever. You don't get a second choice. Make a choice. This is it.
Yvette say Kevin is a mess. He is.
It is a mess.
It is. That whole show a wreck.
It's a wreck, right? It's know when your flesh is making a choice. I think that's number one on our list for tonight. But also knowing your type, right? It cannot only be physically based. I think that's a big thing we're talking about tonight. Okay, it's not just physically based. There has to be more to your type.
Yeah.
Than how that person can please you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right, real?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it
has to be more.
You know, and I think sometimes, you know, many those that are dating, they have this oh my goodness, I done lost the word. They have this chronological order.
Okay.
Of meeting their type and then getting to know that person to see now that if they can fit that type on a mental or social or intellectual level, right? So they have this chronological order of things, and I think sometimes we find that because of this chronological order, where the breakdown is, where they may have missed the one that they really liked because they didn't have the physical attraction, but they met on the intellectual level, right? But because of the physical attraction wasn't there, and now you know you kind of stay still in search of all the things, of your type.
So what are the things? I think that's what we just need to get to. What are the things? Because I think this is what's really screwing people up. Is like, these are all the things you need for what? What do you need the things for? I think that's number one, Pastor Will. What you need the things for, child? What are they for? Because at the end of this, like, what do you expect to be getting from this person? I think about types and all these things, Pastor Will, and I'm like, at the end of it, the reality of this, what we're talking about tonight, is that I want a person that does like this. I want a person that does like this. I want a person that does like that. All of that sounds amazing, right? I want a person that can do this. I want a person to do that. But if they can't do all those 10 things, then they no longer your type. I don't know. I'm just asking some questions here so I can get some clarification. Some clarification of what are you really looking for?
Yeah, I'll go back, and I'll say, we talk about, the types that fit us, but for other people where they may have thought I was their type, I was really a bad type for them because, like, on dates, I wouldn't date myself. I was boring, right? Because I didn't talk. I'm not a talker.
Yeah.
I'm not a talker. So if you needed a type that talk, then you had the wrong dude. Because I ain't talking with you. I just ain't talk. Like, you had to engage in the conversation with me in order to get me to talk and open up, right? And so not only was so it was kind of like type dating, trying to figure out, what's the type I'm with or kind of want to hang with or whatever.
Yeah, but look, that's true for somebody that you didn't talk, but it was not true for me.
No, it wasn't true for you. No, because I think I was able to be the type that you needed.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into it. We about halfway in. Let's get into it. About, if there is a fact that a believer, the way a believer determines who is for them, God has to be a large part of the equation, right? Because in reality, Pastor Will is really introverted. I'm really extroverted. And so in reality, like from a type perspective, he didn't talk a lot. I did talk a lot. It was just not like I was used to guys who were like, very talkative, like, aggressive, this, that. Pastor Will just wasn't none of those things. He wasn't none of the things, right? And so from a type perspective, it's important as a believer that God gets involved in your details.
Amen.
Yes, God has to be involved in your details. And I know, like, for some people, it's like, well, what about all the physical stuff? It's gonna if God is in your details, He knows what you need on every level. Romantically, physically, God actually knows all those things. He knows those things. And frankly, if God is in your details and He connects you with a person, they will also be into, what you need physically, what you need emotionally, right? Even though Pastor Will, as he just stated, he didn't really come equipped with all that. That's true. He was really like, look, still.
This is what I got to offer. That's it. Take it or leave it. I don't know. I'm digging on you. You digging on me. We digging on we.
Woo! Boy. But that's true. The truth of that is, the more he was digging on me, the more he was willing to stretch himself. That's a fact, right? And so, like, allowing God to get in your details it's important, because he may not have started out as the type. But I'm telling you right now, what happened, Pastor Will? What happened? Tell him what happened. We might not have started out as each other's type, but what happened?
Yeah, we eventually made it down the aisle.
Eventually, in like 10 minutes. Like right? I mean, like, the truth is, it didn't take long to realize that God was involved in the details, and that, it wasn't about a look or this or that. It became about, someone who is willing to spend their life making a life with each other.
Yeah. I mean, it's what we talked about earlier all the time, is like, when you dating, you have to see God's hand. You want to see God's hand.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the prayers of in that dating stage, is like, God, show me your hand in this.
Yeah.
Because for real, for real, my flesh will lead me. So I need to see your hand, because sometimes it can get so deep that you will ignore what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
So I need to see your hand. I need to see your doing. I need to see your being in this.
Yeah.
Before I mess something up.
Before I wreck myself.
Before I wreck myself.
Let me tell y'all right now, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I almost wrecked myself. Look, prior to Pastor Will, I almost wrecked myself for sure. And part of the wrecking of myself was about, not having God in the details. The person looked the part, the person seemed the part, the person had all the lists, the checklist, this list and that list. But at the end of the day, God was not involved in the details, and it showed. Right? It showed in a lot of different ways. I won't get into ways tonight, but it definitely showed. So it's important to make sure that God get in them details. Yeah, Pastor Will?
Yeah, I can honestly say, like, 20 years later, I couldn't imagine anybody that I dated, excuse me, even if they watching, I couldn't imagine anybody that I'm dating that I dated before actually pastoring the church alongside with me.
No, not at all. Not me either. I'm saying, no. The answer is no. Yeah,
So
they watching. I don't even care. It's enough. That's okay.
so my type had to be it had to be not my type, but it had to be God's type.
Yeah,
The type that God had for me that I allowed myself to that I allow myself to open up to, right?
yeah.
Regardless of all the qualifications or check marks that I'm sure you all heard these past few weeks from our guests. So
Yeah, I think it's really important, Pastor Will, to make sure that when you talk about type, we already talked about you got to get to reality, because a lot of what you desire is fantasy anyway. And so, right, we just
wow.
resolved that tonight. A lot of what you desire is fantasy.
Wow, that's
Nobody ain't gonna
tough.
be able to ain't nobody gonna be able to meet it. Like, just being straight up with yourself. Nobody ain't gonna be able to meet that, whoever that person, back in my day, Denzel Washington, Tate Diggs, whatever. Back, hey, look, whoever the person, Tyra Banks, I saw somebody put up here, Tyra Banks, whatever the person is in your mind, that they ain't gonna meet it. They're not gonna meet it. It's not a reality because that person is fake anyway. It's a TV person. It's your family person. Whatever you got in the back of your mind is not really gonna ever be that person. So get the
Yeah,
reality.
it's reality.
Get the reality.
And I agree. As I look at oldie but goodie TV, like Fresh Prince and Martin and stuff like that, and the the images that I saw, the fantasies that I saw, and now I'm 20 years later. Now I'm like, now seeing what they went through their life, I was like, wow, that image could trick you to
Yeah.
thinking something is the perfect image when really there is stuff, good and bad, that comes with those images if that's what you desire to go to pursue.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I also say, Pastor Will, about this is I do think too it takes a lot of courage to date God's way, because we only talk about dating God's way. Like, if you want to go out here and take a chance, like what they call it, Russian roulette. You want to Russian roulette it? That's look. You can Russian roulette it. Like, this won't be for everybody, right? And I think that I want it to be for every believer that exists, but some believers for real want a flesh decision. And I think we just gotta, and I'm sorry, dang God's way, I gotta give it to y'all straight tonight. Some believers, they just want the flesh decision. They want somebody that's going to make their flesh do all the things, right? That's true, right? But to date God's way and to really, I believe, get God's person for you, it's gonna take courage. It's gonna take courage to make decisions that get you to a God person. And that does not mean you have to sacrifice things like intimacy or, sex, any of those things. God
Right.
is mindful of it all. He's in the details.
He's in the details.
So you don't have to sacrifice the things that you think, oh yeah, what I mean is that, if I do it God's way, then I mean I'm gonna have to get somebody who don't this and who don't want to do that and that don't mean that. Nothing. We need to take some of these lies of the devil. Okay, we got to get the lies of the devil out of here, Pastor Will.
Amen.
Because the devil is lying to a lot of you, telling you, right? Telling you certain things. It's not true. Right? And so, somebody's making a point that types change as you grow in God, grow in life, mature, begin, adorn, and start careers. I don't know that that's true, Sister Shirley. I don't know if your type should change.
Well, I think she's saying that types change. That the person that fits your type, that person changes. That personality, who that person is,
No, I think
can
she's
change.
saying who your type is changes. So your view of types change.
Okay.
Yeah, so your views of types change as you grow in God, grow in life, mature, and everything like that. I got married at 21. So I don't know if that's true that it changes. I think that the truth is, the two things that we've stated so far, the truth is that you have to know when your flesh is making a decision. That does not take, from my perspective, that doesn't take necessarily maturity at all. It is, I'm making a spiritual decision, right? And I think number two is God involved in your details? That does not have to take necessarily a person who is uberly spiritual mature. I think it takes a person who is alert and aware and willing to allow people who are mature, maybe that are more mature than them, to be in the space where God can be in the details.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's important. I think that's important. Um, yes, right. So yes, so right. She said who she wanted as a teenager is definitely not who she wants now. Yeah, that's a fact. But like at that age, most likely you weren't looking to do it God's way either, right? And that's why I'm saying that to do it God's way takes courage, right? Like it's not a necessarily about growing in our own understanding of maturity. It's growing in our perception of how we see who is for us. Hit on that, Pastor William. How we see who is for us. The perception of how we see who is for us. How did you move from light, bright, voluptuous to dark skin, toothpick Pastor E? Because Pastor E was back then definitely was a toothpick. I was a size 0.
You know, you know, when we met, I was committed to God. I was saved.
Yeah.
I was committed.
Yeah.
And you know, a man that finds a wife finds favor in the Lord. And I believe that I think in many ways the Lord gives you things because without it, he know you gonna fall or you may fail.
Yeah.
So I think he gave me you so I could stay on course.
Go ahead.
in my salvation journey.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Because I may would have failed if another bad girl came my way. You know, so you rescued me from falling in the time that I would have failed it.
Oh, you are hilarious.
And it's so. What was the question? What was the statement?
I got you. And so,
Okay.
in other words, having the courage to make a God choice, that takes courage, right? That also means that you were also going to be choosing not to, that type, not to choose that type.
It was a life decision.
Yeah.
It was a life decision. And it was a thing of, could the person or the types that I thought I was attracted to, would they ruin my life, bring death to my life, or bring drama to my life, or or would they bring life to my life, right?
Yeah.
And I saw my decision to date you brought so much life to my life, which I did not have when I dated the types that I wanted at the time.
Yeah, I think, Pastor Will, it's like when we talk about making a God choice, because that's what, dating God's way is about, making a God choice, right? It's who is going to bring life. That's an amazing point that you're making right now. Who's going to bring life to your life? Who's going to bring life? Who's going to push you closer to God? That's what I heard you say. Who is going to push you closer to God? Who is going to who is going to push you in the way of God, right? And I think that is making a God choice is so important. I think that as we're getting into type tonight, what we're really saying is like, some of what you think is type, you're going to let go of because of flesh. Some of what you think is type, you're going to let go of because of fantasy, right? And some of what you think is type, you're going to let go because it's unrealistic, right? It's like that don't really even exist. But fourthly, I think the fourth reason why you're going to let go of type, some of your type thinking, you're going to let go of type because your type may not be God's choice.
That's it.
Woo! That's woo. Your type may not be God's choice. So you out here looking for somebody when the one that a God choice, let me be very careful with my words tonight, a God choice, you're not even willing to explore a God choice because you're so stuck on physicality. You're so stuck on this person got to be an outdoor person. This person got to be that person. This person got to be. You're so stuck on the types that you cannot even see a God choice.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
You're missing an opportunity to find a good thing. You're missing an opportunity to be found by someone. You're missing an opportunity for a God choice.
Gotcha.
You're missing an opportunity for God to have you be found or for you to find a wife.
And I think you kind of missed the purpose of courting and dating and courting and marriage, right?
Yeah.
Because if the type got to be your type all the time, if we are that self-centered,
Yeah.
and it always got to be our way,
Yeah.
I think we actually miss the purpose of what marriage is in the sight of God.
Absolutely. And marriage in the sight of God is a spiritual union. He relates marriage to Jesus Christ and his church.
Yes.
I mean, how much deeper can we get than that? God relates marriage to Jesus Christ and his church, the bride. So marriage is a spiritual relationship that we enter into. And dating God's way, you got to understand that this is a spiritual union that you are coming into.
But I think we have the definition of marriage. I think Disney and Fox and Lifetime, they all have distorted God's view of marriage. They have perverted God's view of marriage to be some selfish escapade.
Yeah.
That, you gotta be happy, you gotta be in love, your marriage gotta be built and all of these things. But the simple thing is that God gave Eve to Adam with nothing. Wasn't nothing there.
Yeah.
Adam didn't even have an opportunity to go find love in Eve. He didn't have an opportunity to go look for love. He gave him a wife.
Yeah. 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 We talking about the original marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. And so go back. And I believe that, because like you said, our fantasy land, our imaginations, we needed love, but I believe God gave you me.
Absolutely.
But I almost messed that up, right?
For sure.
As we got down to the wedding date and stuff like that. But it was a realization or a knock on the head or a dream or revelation that you are who God gave me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. 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 God has to be not just involved, but God has to be the center of your decision making. right?
Yeah.
He needs to be involved in the details, but he also has to be the place you're starting from. God has to be the place you're starting from. Because if God is not the place that you're starting from, what we will find is that we're going to be in the space of we're going to be in the space of looking for things that nobody really can satisfy anyway, right? Your flesh, all of that stuff is really, Pastor Will, but so much like a person can do in reality. Like the flesh always just want more, 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 more. Give me this, give me that, do this, do that. You see, like the flesh is going to always be looking for it to be pleased more, 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 more. So you start from that selfish, fleshly place, you're never gonna get a God result. That's it, right?
You're always gonna be looking for type, even when that type you're looking for is right there in front of your face.
Yeah.
Because then because that flesh is always requiring more. I need you to be more bald headed. I need you to be more dark skinned. I need you to be
Yeah.
more rich. I
Yeah.
need you to be more because flesh is talking. I need more, 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 more.
Yeah.
But God satisfies.
God satisfied. He the only one
He
in
brings
reality that can
contentment.
ever satisfy you, point blank and period. God is the one.
So when you per se see two people of less financial means get married, you be like, well, why are they marrying him? Because they broke or whatever. They are content with each other. And maybe it's something that, no, not maybe, it is something that God has put together.
That's correct.
And I
Yeah.
think we got to do a better job at taking our judgments off of somebody else's marriage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Who God put together that don't nobody put us under.
Absolutely.
God satisfies, and at the end of the day, God will give you what you need. He also will himself satisfy you so that you're not looking for a person to do his job. Another person can never do the job of God. Another person can never do the job of God, right? And another person can also never do the job of you. It's going to take you, your own self, being able to make yourself happy, right? No husband gonna do that, no wife gonna do that. There are fulfillments that you have to be able to receive without another person.
Yeah.
God satisfies, but also you are responsible for your state,
Yeah.
right? You're responsible for what state you find yourself in. So those two reasons why type is important, because sometimes people look at type as, if I have this type, then that means this person is going to fulfill me in some way, or this person is going to complete me in some way, or this person is going to make this part of my life easier, or that life easier, or that easier. And then the reality is probably not, yo. Sorry.
That's the reality.
The reality is you still gonna have to do the work your own self. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Hello? Is this mic on? I'm sorry. You still gonna have to do the work. You still gonna have to do the work your own self, right?
That sounds good like that.
Right? You will still have to do the work your own self, even if you find the perfect type. First, we got into matches. Now we're getting into types. Yeah.
Yeah.
God has to satisfy, and I have to be able to be happy with or without the person. Right? I want the person. I love having the person. I love having Pastor Will. It's amazing. But at the end of the day, I can't look to Pastor Will for my happiness, joy, completion. He got to do them things for himself. I got to do that for myself. And then we get to come together. We got to come together then in our happiness and joy and spread that to each other. Or we got to come lift each other up when each other is down. That's good. But we can't be the responsible one. Right, Pastor Will?
That's right, Pastor E.
Types, and types, y'all.
Types, and types.
Types, and types. I wonder what y'all getting out of this types tonight. Go ahead and share in this comment section. What's going with you with the type? Because you know, all of these dating now. We keep talking about these dating now. I'm not against the dating now, but that is also gets your mind in a tight, Pastor Will.
Yeah, I haven't been on a dating app in 20 years. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't even know what they look like. I don't even know what they asking about. But I'm sure they doing some kind of personality matching and
Sure.
type matching and um I see the eHarmony commercials, but yes, but we can't be responsible for each other's joy. Trust God, child. Let them go. Unless your fulfillment is in Jesus, you would never be fulfilled with a spouse. Amen.
Yeah, rip up the list. It's
Yeah.
important. This is important, God, to date in God's way. I'm not. If you try to date some other way, or you try and get the history and this and that, that's fine. You can do that. But at the end of the day, God, the God way is going to be the way, the way that determines if you can really live a God life with somebody else, y'all.
Yeah.
The God choice, y'all. Yes, yes,
God
and
choice.
yes.
So continue. Let God be your type. And
Yeah, let God lead
let
you
God
to the type He has for you. Hallelujah.
absolutely.
The choice He has for you. The choices He has for you. Somebody might mess it up. He might give you another choice. Listen.
You know, I met my type when somebody asked me to come be in the band, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Um, and so when you allow God to lead you, or when you're open to God leading you, if you haven't found your type, He will lead you to some peculiar places,
Ooh,
and your type, His type, will be there waiting
His
for you.
choice. Yeah. Yeah. Be open to God leading
Destiny will
you.
be calling you.
Go ahead. Yeah. Allow God to lead you. God's choice. Yes. God's choice to lead you. Allow God to lead you. I'm gonna tell you right now, types, people types, personality types, all these things it's gonna mess a lot. Physical type, personality type. It has led many to make some bad decisions, y'all.
Yeah. So,
It
Pastor,
takes courage to date God's way. I
it
just gotta
really
say that again.
does.
I'm telling you, that's on me tonight, Pastor Will. It takes woo, you know how much he get? That's on me tonight. It takes courage to date God's way. And I really want to encourage somebody with that tonight because you out here trying to date like this person, that person, TV person, your family person, this person, your history. Look, it takes courage to date God's way. Yes, yes, yes. I'm your t-shirt coming. Yvette, I'm about to make the t-shirt. Absolutely. It takes courage to date God's way. Any other way got you out in these streets looking crazy, Pastor Will.
Amen. Hey, you guys, do me a favor. Come join us at 4520 Beach Road on Saturday for our fall festival. Also, don't forget tomorrow night, join us at 4520 Beach Road at Vision Impact Center for our prophetic nights. We have Bishop Denson, Marvin Denson in the house, Bishop Marvin Denson II. He will be in the house with Bishop Marvin Denson Jr. I think it's Jr. But he will be in the house tomorrow on Wednesday. Again, Saturday is our fall festival, and then come join us on Sunday, starting at 10 o'clock for our Vision Impact for our worship experience. So yeah,
It's on Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday, Sunday
Yeah.
at 10.
Okay.
Sunday at 10 a.m. Come join us. So eh, stay connected, stay with us. Dating God's Way every Tuesday night. I hope you guys got something out of this conversation, something out of this lesson.
Yeah, it
Let
takes courage
God
to date God's way.
be encouraged to date God's way.
Woo.
Let God be the type that leads you to His type.
Yes, yes, yes. Let God be your first type that leads you to His choice, His type for you. Yes, yes, and yes. Woo! Date God's way. Impact.
Good to see you all. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, David. Thank you, Michelle.
Blessings.
Blessings. Kavante, Tiana,
Hey.
Kanisha,
Law. Hey.
Law.
We
We at it again. And all of you that joined us tonight.
Everybody who joined us. Sister Sheila. Hey, y'all. Thanks
Sister
for joining
Sheila.
us.
Yeah, Rashad.
Impact. We at it again.